Today, we're unpacking a concept called hormonal, the hidden intelligence.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are taking a word that's been used for literally decades to dismiss, diminish, and just stereotype half the population, and we're going to completely flip it on its head. Take a look at this quote. This perfectly captures the exact stereotype we're dismantling today. Back in 1970, Dr. Edgar Berman, a prominent political advisor, by the way, actually argued that women were unfit for leadership. Why? Because, as he put it, you wouldn't want a bank president making loans under raging hormonal influences. He even went as far as to imply that a menopausal woman in the White House could, trigger a nuclear holocaust. I mean, it sounds absolutely absurd to us now, right? But this represents a deeply, deeply ingrained cultural notion. This idea that female hormones make women irrational, difficult, or just completely out of control.
But, here is the bizarre cultural double standard in all of this. All humans have hormonal cycles. Every single one of us. Men experience these daily up and down fluctuations in testosterone. Yet society completely ignores that daily male cycle. Nobody's ever calling a man hormonal in the middle of a boardroom meeting, right? But the monthly female cycle? For generations, it's just been labeled crazy or a curse. The feminist icon Gloria Steinem actually once joked that if men could menstruate, it would instantly become a source of masculine pride. We literally have federally funded John Wayne maxi pads. But instead of pride, women's cycles have historically been treated like this messy problem to be solved, or honestly, even worse, just completely ignored by the scientific community.
Section 1. Science's male default problem.
So for a really, really long time, science simply decided that the male body was the default for human biology. Let's investigate exactly why science ignored female biology for so long, and more importantly, what that actually cost us. Just look at this number right here, 5.5 to 1. In 2009, an analysis found that male lab animals outnumbered female subjects 5.5 to 1 in neuroscience research. No way, right? Why would they do that? Well, because scientists frankly found female hormonal cycles way too inconvenient. Way back in the 1920s, researchers noticed that female lab rats ran on their exercise wheels a whole lot more when they were in their fertile window. To scientists trying to, perfectly control all their variables, this made females too messy and unpredictable. So they just excluded them. They studied males instead. And what that meant is that generations of medical knowledge about everything from pain medication to brain chemistry was based almost entirely on male bodies.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real, tangible healthcare cost of that scientific blind spot. When the medical establishment decided they wanted to fix male sexual dysfunction, what did they create? Viagra. It's a pill you take 30 minutes before sex, and it simply increases blood flow. Fast, effective, physiological, boom. But decades later, when they finally made a drug for low female sexual desire, a little pill called Addy, it was incredibly complicated. It literally alters complex brain chemistry, specifically dopamine and serotonin. A woman has to take it every single night, even if her partner is out of town, and she can't drink any alcohol with it because it could dangerously drop her blood pressure. We know so much less about female desire and female bodies simply because, we just haven't studied them equally.
Section 2. Rethinking female heat.
To truly understand female biology, we actually have to look back at our evolutionary history. We need to observe the animal kingdom and fundamentally redefine this concept of female estrus, which is just the scientific term for what we commonly call being in heat. Now, science's view of this has gone through three really distinct historical phases. First up, the frenzied female. Think all the way back to ancient Greek myths. The god Zeus turns his lover Io into a cow, and this gadfly drives her into a frantic, uncontrollable panic. For centuries, heat was viewed as this manic, lustful loss of control. Then, in the 20th century, we shifted to the passive receptacle view. Scientists basically watched female rats in these small, boring laboratory cages. The male rat would approach, and the female would simply adopt a submissive reflex to allow mating. So science concluded females were just passive recipients of male urges. But finally, thankfully, we've arrived at the actual truth, the strategic chooser.
You see, when researchers actually started observing animals in the wild, instead of in tiny little cages, absolutely everything changed. Take wild female rats, for example. They do not just passively wait around. They actively approach males, dart around, wiggle their ears, and deliberately pace the mating sequence to choose exactly which male is going to father their pups. They are totally running the show. Or look at the female hamster. When she's in her fertile window, she'll invite a male into her burrow. But the very second she is done mating, she violently chases him out. And it gets even more incredible. Her body literally grows an imperfect membrane, a biological barrier that completely closes off her vaginal canal. The author of our source text jokingly calls it a penis force field. It's wild. So these animals aren't frantic, and they definitely aren't passive. They are highly, highly strategic.
Section 3. The search for human estrus.
So this begs the question. If female mammals all across the animal kingdom use estrus to strategically choose the best possible mates, what about us? For a really long time, the general consensus was just that humans had evolved past all this. But the fascinating reality is that humans absolutely possess a hidden estrus phase. It beautifully bridges the gap between animal mating behavior and modern human attraction. And to prove this, scientists Steve Gengestad and Randy Thornhill designed what became one of the most famous experiments in all of evolutionary psychology, the stinky t-shirt study. They wanted to see if human females subtly changed what they found attractive when they were highly fertile. So they had 42 men follow the super strict rules you see here. Wash your sheets in unscented detergent, eat absolutely no garlic, lamb, or strong spicy foods, and wear a plain white t-shirt to bed for 2 nights straight. Then put that sweaty shirt right into a plastic bag. Finally, they brought in 52 women to literally sniff these shirts and rate how sexy they smelled.
And the results? They were completely groundbreaking. See, the researchers had meticulously measured the men's bodies beforehand to calculate their bilateral symmetry, meaning how perfectly the left side of their body matched their right side. In nature, high physical symmetry is a massive indicator of strong, healthy genetics that successfully resisted disease during development. And the study found that women who were at peak fertility in their cycles consistently rated the sense of the highly symmetrical men as the absolute sexiest. The women didn't know why, they just knew what smelled good to them. This proved that human female strategic choice, a hidden human estrus, absolutely exists. Without even realizing it, fertile women were being hormonally nudged to seek out indicators of healthy genes.
Section 4. The undercover ovulator.
So let's transition into the actual biology of the cycle to see exactly how these subtle, undercover changes are orchestrated inside the human body. Because unlike a baboon that displays this bright red physical swelling, humans evolved to keep this completely under wraps. Now, what's really interesting about this chart is the sheer complexity of it. This is not just a graph of mood swings. It's a timeline of ancient biological intelligence. These peaks and valleys, they represent molecular messengers traveling through the blood, perfectly timed to ensure the survival of our entire species. Let's chart out how this works over an average 28 days. In the first half, follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH, basically wakes up the eggs in the ovaries. As an egg matures, the body pumps out estrogen, which is this powerhouse hormone that builds up the uterine lining. Then, right around day 14, we get a massive spike, a complete bungee jump, of luteinizing hormone, or LH. And that surge is the exact trigger that releases the egg. Ovulation. This is that hidden estrus window where female strategic choice peaks. By keeping this exact moment of ovulation totally concealed, even from the woman herself, ancestral women likely protected themselves. It was an incredible evolutionary defense mechanism to reduce the risk of unwanted attention from males or rivals, allowing women to make their own subtle, highly strategic mating choices.
And that brings us right back full circle. Being hormonal absolutely does not mean you're out of control. It doesn't mean you're irrational. Your hormones are a finely tuned, highly strategic system that has helped females survive, choose fit partners, and thrive over billions of lifetimes. It is a powerful badge of 500-million-year-old evolutionary intelligence. It's literally the wisdom of the body operating exactly as it was designed to.
So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is this. The next time someone tries to use the word hormonal as an insult, well, you'll know the actual science. I want to leave you with this final thought to really consider. If your hormones truly possess millions of years of evolutionary wisdom, how will you listen to them differently tomorrow? Thanks so much for watching, and keep learning.